Hello, podcast listener. Can you do me a favor? Please pause this episode right now if you haven't done this already. If you haven't left a review and a rating on iTunes, please pause the show right now. And can you do that for me? I don't ask for it much, but it does help more people see the show or listen to the show. You know what I mean. So if you haven't done it, please leave me an iTunes rating and review. Listen, if you think the show stinks, you want to give it a 1 star and leave a bad review, that's fine. If you think the show's great and you want to leave it a 4 or 5 star and a great review, that's fine as well. Just the ratings and reviews matter. So I'd really appreciate it if you did that right now. And an easy way to do it is go to eartotheretravel.com/iTunes. That will walk you through the process. It takes somewhere between 15 and 45 seconds. So again, please pause. Do it now. Did you do it? Thanks. I really appreciate it.
From the Ear to There Travel Studio, this is the Ear to There Disney Podcast.
The Ear to There Podcast, it's time to start the show. Be sure to hold on tight, here we go. Exploring all the different Disney destinations. Ear to There, it's time to start the fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ear to There Disney Podcast. I'm your host, Phil Gramlich. I am also the owner and the founder of Ear to There Travel, which is a Disney specialized travel agency. And it is my job and the job of my fellow vacationers to take away all of that stress, all of that anxiety, and all that time that it takes to plan a Disney trip so you can focus on the really fun things like having a phenomenal time with your family and friends and enjoying the magic. And we do all of that. We take away all that stress, all that anxiety, and all that time that it takes to plan your trip at absolutely no extra cost to you. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, like Jenny from the Block once sang, her love don't cost a thing. Well, our services don't cost a thing. So you can find this podcast, the blog, or request a free, no obligation quote from me or from one of my fellow vacationers over at eartotheretravel.com. All right, this is episode number 153 for the week of January 14th, 2019. So grab a drink, grab a snack, and as a famous mouse once said, on with the show. Now, each and every week, I start the numbered episodes with the What About Bob segment of the show. This week, I do not have a new answer from Bob. Because of the holidays and everything, Bob and I have not gotten to talk in a couple of months. We are, in fact, going to talk tomorrow, but I didn't want to wait another day to put out a new episode. So the What About Bob segment is brought to you normally by the Waltland Bus Tour. To get tickets to the Waltland Bus Tour, head over to www.waltland.com. And to get a question in for Bob, you can call the voice line. That phone number is 267-551-1971. Or you could always email it to me at phil@eartotheretravel.com. All right, here we go with episode number 153. Yo, Vanilla, kick it one time, boy! Am I better off not mentioning the Vanilla Ice thing? We won't talk about it. All right. So 2019 is here. And with it are a ton of new things coming to the Disney parks here in good old US of A. We have new attractions. We have new lands, new food. We have all kinds of stuff happening in 2019. And this week, I wanted to talk all about those happenings with you. Here to talk all about what's coming to Disney in 2019 and to fill your hearts with optimism. I can't even get through that line. Is my friend, the most optimistic man I know, Chuck Rodriguez. Welcome back to the show.
Do you have a concussion? Has something occurred that Amy has not told me about?
Yeah, I figured I'd lie to the listener to start the show today.
Early onset of Alzheimer's? Is that what's going on, Phil?
That'd be really early. Can you get it at 40? You probably can.
I sadly think I have actually read about that. Yes,
I think
that's what we have to do Sudoku puzzles every single day for the next 20 years.
I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that is. I play video games.
I've never done one, but it's those stupid Japanese crossword puzzles.
All right. Well, you just insulted someone who does crossword puzzles, and then you insulted someone who is Japanese. So let's move on. No, the only things like I would say I play video games, but I don't have the time anymore. I have video games. I haven't played one in months. So anyway, Chuck, thank you for being on. Happy New Year to you.
Yes, Happy New Year. Well, I'm sure it won't be that happy, but it's New Year.
That's why I love having you on. All right, so what we're going to do on this episode is we're going to talk all about what's coming to Disney World, Disneyland, etc. We talked about doing movies, but I'm going to leave that out because you're right. You mentioned to me that might be a full episode in itself. So
yeah,
we're going to do that. Maybe we'll do that in the next few weeks or months
sure.
Before anything big comes out. But this one is primarily going to focus on Disney World, Disneyland, and what is coming. I figured, so what I did was I made it very easy for you because I know you're not big on research or doing much homework for a podcast episode. So
no, I just like to fly off the seat of my pants and just give opinion. And I mean criticism.
Yeah, I think that's what people like about you, I think. Anyway, I do get positive emails and reaction to you somehow, so we'll just keep having you on. I don't know why.
No, neither, but that's fine.
You know what it is? I think there are some cynical podcast listeners out there that are just like, Phil's happy-go-lucky attitude rubs me the wrong way, so I'll only listen when Chuck is on.
I mean, that's why I only listen to the episodes when I'm on.
All right, let's get started. Man, this is tough. All right, so what's coming to Walt Disney World in 2019? All right, so
should we end with the obvious one?
Yeah. That's the way I made my list. I have,
good.
I have, the lesser. I get not lesser. Let's be honest. The least awaited or the least exciting ones first, and then we'll work our way up to the big daddy of them all. So the first one I wanted to mention. In Epcot, coming in between Mission Space and Test Track, is the space-themed restaurant that is coming in, as far as we know, still coming in 2019. The establishment is being referred to as Space 220. I don't know what that is.
220.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. I don't know what 220 means, but that's what the secret code in Disney is for.
That's how much a 5-course meal for one person will cost.
Always the optimist, Chuck. So basically what this restaurant is going to be is you will get inside, take elevators to the upstairs, to the main dining room that will feel like you are going up into space somehow on these elevators. You're going up into the International Space Station. And then when you get out of the elevators, you enter a huge restaurant. Let's see, how many people does this seat? I think it's like 350 people, 350 seats. Huge 250-foot-long digital screen that is on the back of the room to make it look like you're actually in space. Really, really, really cool. What do you think about this one, Chuck? Are you excited about it? Not excited? Well, I want to know what Chuck Rodriguez's thoughts are on the space restaurant.
I mean, in level of excitement, I would definitely have not put that number one because it's up there for me, and it has been since they first said it, and for 3 reasons. Number one, because at this point, I enjoy going to Disney World for new eating experiences more than I do for the rides. So this is definitely a unique new eating experience. And maybe I don't have 3. But secondly, and why I think it's brilliant, and I wonder if somebody actually had this idea when it was, time to throw around, hey, what's the next new, very expensive restaurant that we're going to put into Epcot, is that it's an awesome alternative for for the same kind of technological experience you would get at Star Wars Land or the Star Wars Hotel, which none of us are ever going to get to do.
That's a good point. That's a really good point, the hotel.
And Star Wars Land, it could take forever until we finally see it. And even then, it'd be, once every few months. So I think that's why I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so
I will put it on my credit card. I don't care how much it'll cost. I will go eat there as soon as it opens.
Yeah, so you're right. It is going to be that feeling of being in space like the hotel will be, where every window looks out into space, just like that Star Wars hotel. The only reason I really have it last on my list is because I downloaded a list from another site. So just to be completely honest with you, so I'm going backwards from there. The next one actually is probably less exciting than this one. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it's a neat thing. And I'm always up for a new restaurant experience in Walt Disney World. I'm still eating at Be Our Guest every time I go. That's still like my favorite restaurant there. So I think,
I'm over it. I love it, but I'm over it. Yeah, it's been a while.
All right. Yeah, for the listener who hasn't been there, like Chuck's been there 15 times, but for the listener who hasn't been there, it's still an excellent. It's one of the most well-themed, if not the most well-themed restaurant currently in Walt Disney World. It's really, really neat.
And the food is great, too.
Yeah. Yeah, so I haven't been there since the new fixed price menu debuted.
Oh, yeah. No,
we're going in April, so we have reservations then, so I'll be able to give my review on it then. All right, so, yeah, you're right, Chuck. This is a kind of a weird way to do it, because the next one on my list is Disney's Riviera Resort, which is a DVC resort, the 15th Disney Vacation Club property that's opening in Walt Disney World, based on Walt Disney's travels along Europe's Mediterranean coastline. What do you think, Chuck? Excited? Not excited? Lukewarm?
I literally slipped into a coma while you were.
Well, this is one that's going to be mostly DVC units, so it's not really going to matter a ton to the regular guest, I think.
Actually, I've been annoyed by this resort ever since they announced it, because the theme Mediterranean means so many awesome potential things to me. First of all, even if it was an exact replica of Portofino at the Universal down the street, it would be an incredible place that we would actually want to go spend time with, whether we're staying there or not. So I feel like it was a lost opportunity, completely lost opportunity, because everything we've heard about so far, it might as well be a Super 8 with a couple of palm trees that happen to grow along the Mediterranean coast and on Florida.
That's really funny that you mentioned that, because I read an article recently about, are the Disney resorts losing their themes?
Yes.
And do you feel like with the changing of even like something simple like the blankets, where they went with the all white blankets now, and the all white beds, do you think that the resorts, especially the new ones that they build, aren't as well themed as they were in the past?
Well, it's funny because that's that exact example that you just gave, because as you know, a big part of my career until recently was in housekeeping operations in big resorts, timeshare, not timeshare. And for logistical reasons, as a cynical person that I am, of course, that's more important than, people's feelings. Yes, I totally get a lot of the changes they've been making at Disney resorts. But you can still have the outside themed well, and the concept and the resort is supposed to supposed to be themed after. That could be done well.
No, I agree. And I think, it's funny. I think having you on the podcast kind of makes me more cynical. Like, but when you're on, I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. But normally I'm never a Disney can do no wrong guy, but I'm pretty, I lean toward Disney does the right thing most of the time. I will be kind of disappointed if this isn't, like you said, if it's a cleverly designed pool with a bunch of palm trees. That's
you already know it is. You might as well be disappointed already. We already seen pictures and the renderings. It is.
All right. Well, it's a little disappointing. It is. But
my 2019 New Year's resolution is to make people less happy. So thank you for saying that.
This is why I only have you on like once every 2 months, because I'm like, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with the negative.
Imagine your poor wife who talks to me 3 times a week. I depress the crap out of her.
I know she gets off those phone calls and starts kicking the dog. No, my Amy would never hurt an animal. It's a joke.
Nerds like you and me, remember back in the day when in the 90s when the huge expansions were happening with Disney resorts, and they mentioned the Mediterranean themed resort on the monorail.
Yes.
And yeah, so obviously I'm just disappointed that this is how they're finally going to do a Mediterranean, Riviera, such an important, part of the world that people always think of when they think of vacationing. I think they're going to blow it.
I hope not. I will hold out, and I know the renderings are out there. I'm looking at it right now on my screen, so I know what it looks like. The artist rendering looks like. I'm somehow hoping it doesn't look like this when it's done, but I think you're right. But I'm going to hold off my opinion that they're going to blow it until I actually get there. I just feel like it feels like, to me, looking at it, it's Bay Lake Tower not in a circle. Like, that's what it looks like to me.
Thank you. Yes.
Like that.
So, and I will say this, my pragmatic self is like, okay, they desperately need more of the DVC units because obviously this has taken off and has become more popular than anyone could ever possibly have imagined. So is there anything wrong with Disney creating a resort just to quickly get in as many DVC units as possible? And that particular resort is about as boring as Old Key West was, because I've never really liked Old Key West much. Yes, it makes sense. I just feel I wish that if they were going to do the incredible theme of the Mediterranean and the Riviera, they would have used it on a better hotel.
That's fair. That's completely fair, and I get it, and I kind of agree with you. I can't completely agree, but I kind of agree. All right, so the next one I wanted to talk about is a show that's coming to Disney's Hollywood Studios. It's a projection show. A nighttime show chronicling Mickey Mouse throughout the ages and a near century of Disney animation. It is the wonderful world. Why can't I say that word? Wonderful world of, I was going to say imagination. Man, let me try it again. Wonderful world of animation coming to Disney's Hollywood Studios. What do you think in time for the 30th anniversary of the park? The show will use state-of-the-art projection technology to take guests on a magical journey through more than 90 years of Disney animation, all beginning with Mickey himself. What do you think?
Oh yeah, no, I'm actually looking forward to this. I like all of the projection shows they've done so far. The holiday ones and everything on Hollywood Boulevard. So if it's a new theme, new song, something new to look at as I'm walking around, and maybe sometimes I stop and look at it, and sometimes I keep walking. Good for me.
Did you like the Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam?
Yes, I've always liked Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam.
That's funny. It's just a funny name for me. I just laugh every time I say it.
Like, I don't love it.
Listen, I think they do a good job with that. And they have the space in front of the theater, and you have that area to do a show, and you can fit a lot of people in there, and it's a guest eater. I'm excited about that. I've always liked the shows that they've had in that little area. And it takes away some of it doesn't really take away the Fantasmic crowd, I guess, but it's an alternative, I guess, to Fantasmic in that park, which is cool.
Actually, logistically, you never notice. I always thought it was one of the most brilliant, subtle things ever. When the Star Wars show, which obviously was very popular, it was always timed so that the Fantasmic crowd would get out the back way, and then join all the people who didn't go to Fantasmic behind them comfortably. Quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an accident the way they did that. No. Especially when the park has so many bottlenecks in it. I can't. I'm a little worried about Galaxy's Edge opening with the. I forget. I did see something where the park, they're opening up a little more of the park because it's going to have entrances where it's going to have entrances in Toy Story Land, and then there's going to be another.
Avenue. Well, it'll be a full circle park then.
Right, so it'll make a little more sense. And you won't,
except for Sunset Boulevard. That's still weird.
That's still going to end. Yeah, that's still going to end right there. Well, that's actually, we have something to talk about another thing that's coming to Sunset soon. That'll be the next thing we talk about. But yeah, I agree with you, man. I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a cool one. I'm big on anything Mickey and Minnie related. Like I'm a sucker for the history of Disney, for the history of Mickey Mouse. So I'm in. And still have little kids. So the kids will love it. So I'm in for that. Next one that we're going to go to As I said, we're looking at Sunset Boulevard and Hollywood Studios. I love that they're calling it the Disney Hollywood Studios Taste of Cars Land, which I think is a little bit generous. And we're talking about Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy that is coming to Disney's Hollywood Studios this year, pretty soon, I think, the next couple months. Kind of aimed at toddlers and children and preteens. I don't know what we're gonna, what us adults are supposed to be adults are gonna get out of the show. So basically it's, let's see, to kick things off, Lightning demonstrates what he's learned over the years by using his brand new state-of-the-art racing simulator. So if you've seen Cars 3, that big wraparound screen racing simulator is going to be in the show. And then Tow Mater, Cruz Ramirez, and the rest of the gang from Radiator Springs will be in the show as well. Chuck, what do you think?
Next.
Wait, I spent a lot of time going into that. You can't just say next.
No, and you have to, of course, because there's plenty of listeners who are actually going to want to see it. But I'm going to walk past it every single time, I'm sure.
You're going to do it once, right? You have to do it once.
Only if nieces force me to. I can't think of any other reason.
So what it is basically, it's a big movie screen show with a meet and greet afterward. Is kind of what it seems like. After the show, you can meet. You meet and get a picture with Cruz Ramirez. So it seems to me. Do you remember back in the day when Mickey's house was open? He would go through his house and just go through the line and then just meet Mickey at the end. That's kind of what it seems like to me. Like that kind of deal. Or like they still do that in Disneyland in Toontown or Toonton, as they said on Modern Family.
Oh, when he kept saying he was at Downton Disney, and he's like, "You watch too much PBS."
No, he was calling it he was calling Toontown Toonton.
Yeah. So again, this is where my pragmatic mind, right? The only significance this has to me is the fact that obviously they need people eaters and quickly. So this serves the purpose. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, Hollywood Studios now, you're right. And they're going to need something kind of nearby Star Wars Land where people can go and it draws people from Galaxy's Edge, because when Galaxy's Edge opens, it's going to be a madhouse. It's going to be a madhouse. I'm excited. I don't know when I want to see it in Walt Disney World. I know I will see it in Disneyland this summer, but Walt Disney World, who knows? I don't know when I'll actually get in there to see it. Okay, Chuck didn't have a response. We're going to keep moving on.
Well, because we're going to end with that. So
No, you're right. You're right. All right, next one, and we're going out to California in Disney's California Adventure, or excuse me, Disney California Adventure, no apostrophe S. So, as you know, and the listener probably knows, Pixar Pier was the new not real big, but the new addition over the summer. It was before it was Paradise Pier out in California Adventure. Now it's Pixar Pier. They rethemed a whole bunch of stuff out there. The Incredicoaster came, and all that fun stuff. 2 more attractions are coming to Pixar Pier. Let's see, when is it? Can't really find out when they're coming. When does it say? Well, this year, 2019. I can't find a date. The 2 attractions are Jesse's Critter Carousel, which is just a carousel, and Inside Out Emotional Whirlwind, which I don't know, Chuck, have you seen the renderings for that?
Yes, because it's just they moved over one of the old attractions.
Yeah, it's Flix Flyers. Yep. Yeah. They changed the vehicles for Flix Flyers. They changed the theme, and they just kind of moved it over to Pixar Pier. Yeah, I mean, not insanely exciting, to be honest with you. They're keeping the same attraction and then putting a carousel in. I get it. Like, listen, California Adventure is a pretty complete park, and now they've gotten rid of Bugs Land. They're putting in a Marvel Land. It's fine. These aren't attractions that are going to draw me in, but it's cool.
I mean, if I was in California, the hour that I would probably spend going on those two attractions, I would rather spend going to the mall and looking for celebrities who are shopping with sunglasses and hats on.
Always,
Because I really do like doing that every time I've gone to LA.
you do. I could not. I don't think I could stand going to LA with you because that's what you'd be on the lookout all the time.
No, it's like the only thing I care about anytime I'm walking around LA from the moment I get off the plane.
That's funny, man.
But no, again, it just makes sense, right? They had to close Bugs Life and Marvel Land. I'm sure the first thing probably won't be open, I'm assuming, for at least 2 years. So, but I just don't know about the Paradise Pier thing because Paradise Pier was not overall the most exciting concept, and simply making it Pixar Paradise Pier, I'm not enthralled.
I kind of liked Paradise Pier a little bit better. I don't know. I like the feel of the California, boardwalk or the California Pier.
Well, at least it was, because at least it was a real thing.
Yeah, Pixar Pier is just a little underwhelming for me. And the new thing, of course, is the walls everywhere, the painted walls that you take your pictures with. They're all over Pixar Pier, like the up wall and the Buzz Lightyear wall. I'm surprised you're not more into that.
I'm just not a picture person. I mean, I literally can go years without taking a picture.
I am the same way. I take a million pictures of my kids and like food and things in Walt Disney World. There's like, I can go 2-3 years without a picture of myself. I'm just like, nah. Like, I love when I'm taking a picture of the kids and a Disney photographer will come up to me and be like, do you want to get in? And I'm like, no. I know what I look like.
Every time I'm with people who are taking pictures without, somebody in it, just taking pictures of the overall area that we're in, I always say, you could just Google image that. Why, as an amateur, are you going to bother?
You know what's really funny, Chuck, and that's hitting on a really good point. For pictures of the parks, like unless you're using them commercially, of course. Like if I use them on my website, I could get in trouble, and have actually. I learned that the hard way. Back early when I first started and I had my website, I put a picture up on my blog and didn't realize, I just did a Google image search, didn't realize that somebody owned that picture. And like 2 years later, they charged me a lot of money.
Yeah,
that was a stupid mistake. But what I was going to say is, you're right about that. Like all the people, like if you're taking pictures of your children, your family, or your food, all that stuff in the Disney parks, I completely get it, and you should. If you're taking pictures of things, I think you're right. You're wasting your time. You can find, for personal use, you can find better pictures than that in 2 seconds online. So stop and this brings me to another point. Stop taking flash photography pictures on rides.
I won't even get started.
No, you can. I want to hear you. As long as you keep it family friendly, I want to hear, because I wasn't going to get into this, but I am one of the people that when I see the flash going off on Haunted Mansion, I'm the person that's like, knock it off. Like I yell, it drives me nuts. Listen, I know I've been on that attraction 100 times, more than that, but there's somebody on there that's their first time and you're ruining that for them.
Yes, I mean, it used to drive me so angry, and I did almost get into a couple fights because sometimes people, when I would say something a little nasty, they would get nasty back. But I stopped that years ago. Now I'm obsessed with this technology, which actually the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center downtown has, because I just went to it this past week to see Diana Ross. The technology that while you're in the theater, while the show is going on, it just stops your phones from working.
No way.
Yes. Now, you could still film. And in this particular show, Diana said, yes, you can film me. So people had their phones up in their hands the whole time. But it will not let you get a call or text or go on the internet.
That's awesome.
So I just assume that someday that will start appearing in the theme parks. And actually, what you said earlier, I think might even tie into it, because yes, it is kind of. I find it useless for people to take pictures just of the overall scenery at a theme park, because a professional has already taken 1,000 pictures of that and they're free online. But and taking pictures of yourselves, is people been doing that for thousands of years. So the fact that they're putting up these walls to make so it's a specific area in a park meant just for taking pictures. I get that, actually, even though I don't really love taking pictures. I get that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a neat thing. People were doing it already anyway. Like the Instagram phenomenon with the purple wall and now like the bubblegum wall and the toothpaste wall and all these things. I get it. And now there's the one near the purple wall with the ears where you can kind of pose like you have Mickey or Minnie ears on. I get it. I've taken purple wall pictures with my kids because they think it's cool. But whatever. It's not. I don't like pictures of me. I don't need pictures of me. All right. Next one. Let's move on. Okay. All right. Coming to I looked at the concept art from the. It's funny, from the Inside Out emotional. What's it called? Emotional whirlwind. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. It's Flicks Flyers, and my kids like it. It's fun and they enjoy it. But anyway, the next one I wanted to bring up is opening in 2019. I forget. They recently announced the date or the month for this. I forget what it is. Disney's Skyliner finally opening. I feel like they've been building it forever. It hasn't been that long. It's only been not even 2 years, year plus.
We think it's been a long time because it's so visible.
Yeah, it's exactly right. You see it all over. You see
it's everywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, you can see it from multiple places. It's not like one ride where the building could be being built for like a year before you finally even see the top of the building.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and it's all over the place. Hollywood Studios, it's at Epcot, it's at what resorts? It's coming to the.
And it's interrupted entrances, pathways, parking lots. So we've noticed it for a while now.
Yes, and it's going to be I want to say it's not. I don't know if it's going to compete with the monorail. It is, the what do you say it like a Skyway, basically. It's a Skyway gondola system. They said the fall is when it is opening, connecting the hotels to the parks. Disney's saying providing stunning overhead views, character-themed gondolas, and convenient transportation between Disney's Hollywood Studios and the World Showcase out of Epcot. The only problem that I've seen so far with these is the no air conditioning. That scares me a bit. I don't know how cool they're going to be in the summer months or in 9 months out of the 12 in Central Florida.
Yeah, that's actually, I'm not concerned because of that. I'm concerned, I guess during a thunderstorm, because of the wind, they would have to stop anyway. So I don't know if it's just normal rain, do they have to stop it? Because if not, if the rain is going even tiny bit sideways, like it does here in Florida, during the summer especially, then you'd get soaking wet.
Yeah, I don't know. I know they're safe as far as, I did talk to Bob Gurr about this, and they're safe as far as lightning strikes.
I wouldn't have doubted.
They're it's something called a Faraday cage is what they're in. I remember it from Lost, but if they get struck by lightning, it's completely fine. You can't get hurt. I don't know about the rain because it looks like, are they going to be open air? You can't really tell from the concept art. Now they did have one.
I not fathom that if there's no air conditioning, that there's actual windows all the way.
Yeah, it has to be open air, and I'm assuming some kind of fan system. But I'm excited to try it. I'm a little worried about the heat. But I guess we'll see when it opens.
Yeah, but we used to go on the regular Skyway all the time, and when it's moving, you get a breeze no matter how hot the day is. So I actually have never been concerned about the no AC thing. I know people have been freaking out about that, but I have not cared about that.
All right, Chuck. Well, there you go. I try to be a little critical, and then when I'm critical, you're critical of me being critical.
You have to pick the right thing to be critical
of. All right. Well, I'm interested in riding it. It's been a while.
Once in a while.
I don't know if the capacity seems to. I don't know. I guess it's going to be. I don't know. Is the capacity going to be huge? It's going to be fast. I'm curious as to how it works when it opens. So I guess we won't really know.
That's a long line for the route from Epcot to the studios, no matter what.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine why there can't possibly be that long of a line for the spur that goes to the resorts. I mean, how many people could possibly be getting on all at the same time?
No, right. I mean, it'll have to, it's just people who are staying there, obviously.
Right.
But, all right. So
I do wonder what the hours will be. They have never said, the hours. I'm assuming it won't be that late. So, like, maybe everybody who stays those resorts, you have to use the buses or something else after a certain hour.
You think? Why do you think?
I don't know. I just never thought of a Skyway as, working late. Certainly not. I don't know. It just doesn't occur to me. I'd be surprised.
All right. Well, we'll have to see. I don't have anything on that. So we'll have to move on. All right. So the next one I have, let's see, Disneyland, another one, coming to Disneyland in January. Yeah. So it's like a couple days from now is Mickey's Mix Magic, which is the new nighttime show at Disneyland. Mickey appears on his own float in the parade, comes back to California Adventure and the Sound Station Parade. And the new nighttime display is going to be lasers, projections, lights, and music. Yeah, I mean, it's a laser show in Disneyland. I guess we'll have to kind of wait and see. I don't know much about what's going on with that one.
I mean,
Anything?
Again, just like the show at the studios that you mentioned, it's like 90% chance that all those shows are good. I never think it's gonna be bad. I find it interesting that I think I read somewhere that the reason they have to do this at Disneyland because they have to use fireworks less and less because Galaxy's Edge is going to be. If not, they would have to close parts of Galaxy's Edge if they're doing the same big fireworks show.
Oh, wow, that makes sense because it'll be back behind.
Yes.
So
they've got to embrace this project mapping and all that technology more. So people don't really expect a big old fireworks show like we used to anymore.
Well, by the way, this says January. This list I'm looking at says January 18th. I don't think that's right. Only because the Sleeping Beauty Castle is closed right now for a while for a big a big refurbishment that they're doing.
No, but I think the projections are on Main Street buildings. Not
is it really?
Yes.
Yes. See, I did not do enough research for that one.
I'm pretty sure, just like the last show that they have already done one show.
Oh yeah, the Disneyland Forever.
No, the Pixar one that projected onto the Main Street.
Oh well, Disneyland Forever did the same thing. They had a lot of projections on the that was for the 60th, right? Yeah, that was really cool. That was a really, really good show. And that's when they still were doing the parade down Main Street at night. What the heck was it called? It's over in California Adventure. Paint the Night. Oh. Which is a great show, by the way. A great parade. If you haven't seen it.
It looks good.
It is really, really good. All right. Next up, not an extremely exciting one. Disney's Coronado Springs is bringing on the Gran Destino Tower. Again, Disney's saying bringing modern charm and an elegant entrance lobby to the Mexico and Spain influenced resort. Opening this summer. 545 new guest rooms, 50 suites. It's a 15-story tower, 2 new dining locations. Chuck, what do you think?
Well, I do want to try, I think, the 2 new food locations that come with it.
Yeah,
there's a bar down on the lake, and then there's a restaurant up on the top floor.
That's right. Three Bridges Bar and Grill was going to be the waterfront eatery, and the rooftop restaurant is Toledo Tapas Steak and Seafood.
Yes, so I will definitely like to do that, and the view from up there, I'm sure, would be nice. I know people are concerned because then it ruins the Coronado theme, but I don't think necessarily, as long as it's the same looking building, just because there's a tall building in the middle of it all, I don't think that's that bad.
I agree with you, and to be honest with you, Coronado was one of my favorite resorts anyway.
Yes, it always has been for me.
You love it?
Oh yes, always. I think it's even better than Port Orleans.
I disagree.
The way you walk around it and how it's anyway.
You'll have Amy and I fight you all day on that one, especially because she worked at Coronado, so she doesn't. I don't know. I guess she doesn't love it.
I used to work at Port Orleans, so maybe that's why I don't love it as much.
There you go. That's right. That's right. Were you manager, the front desk over there? What were you over there?
Yeah.
So look at you, big shot. Now you're running your own hotel chain back behind the scenes from home. You don't have to leave the house now. You're big shot in it. All right. So, do you ever miss Disney, by the way? Do you miss working there or no?
No, not at all.
I love that answer. No, oh no. But you enjoy it immensely as a guest.
Yes, yeah, I still do. I can't say that I do it less, but every once in a while. But when I'm there, yes, I still enjoy it as much as I used to. I wouldn't doubt that.
All right, good. All right, this just I almost had to
do like I can't wait to do it. Yeah.
Right. All right, good. Because I almost had to kick you off the podcast.
No.
Even though you're being cynical, Chuck, on the show, I almost had to literally remove you from the show. All right, next up, Lion King Celebration coming to Animal Kingdom with the Hakuna Matata Time Dance Party, which I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know this was a thing that was announced. It's honoring the film's 25th anniversary starting early 2019. Did you hear about this?
Yes, and this is where cynical Chuck, I'm sure there's a lot of people who agree with me, right? How many times now do we hear that a park is going to do some sort of specific celebration? And what that means is somebody with an iPhone connected to a speaker is going to play some music so that you have to dance in the middle of the street, and then there'll be some cupcakes themed to that theme. That's it.
Wait, so what else are you referring to?
Is that happening now? There's a cupcake comes out, and then there's somebody who forces you to dance in the middle of the street. That's every celebration recently. I'm sorry.
Are you referring to like the Donald one over in
all of them? Any celebration you could think of. I'm going to say that's what it is.
So look for the Lion King cupcake coming to a restaurant near you. I'm
sure it'll be there.
Somewhere in Animal Kingdom. So it's in Lion King. So it's
because then all you do is instead of going on a great ride, you have to be physical and you have to dance in the middle of the street in front of strangers. That's the whole point.
Yeah. But you're good with dancing in front of strangers. I've never seen you have a problem with that.
Oh yeah, no, it's not like I have a problem with the concept personally. I just feel that it's getting redundant because every year there's a new version of basically the same thing at every Disney park.
All right, what's funny about that is I remember being at Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor with you when you were chosen as the guy who couldn't stop dancing.
Yes.
And most people when they are like, some people just sit there and ignore it, which is lame if you ask me. I mean, if you're in the show, try to go and have fun. You have kids, they're there, be fun. But you took it to a different level, man. Like they put the music on, you were up, like out of your seat in 1 second, dancing. You had the whole place cheering. It was awesome.
Well, I was in a sugar high because just before that, I had a Mike Wazowski themed cupcake. So.
from the street party outside.
Yes.
All right. So listen. I get it. It's not really an attraction that's coming to Animal Kingdom. I don't like I said, I didn't even know this one was a thing. So, you're right. Like they do tend to publicize these things, and I didn't ever think of it as a way to sell cupcakes or iPhone with a speaker, but it's pretty funny.
And as people who know the theme park industry by now enough, or at least talk about it like we know it, it makes sense. And in the old days, this always used to happen, but you'd never hear about it because, first of all, we only had our only communication tool was the Sunday newspaper and 3 channels on TV. But now, every tiny little thing that they're going to do different than what they did yesterday, they've got to publicize it amongst 1,000 different forums, and everybody has to know about it.
No,
so
you're right.
They have to come up with these tiny little things that cost almost nothing, and they can do immediately.
You're right. No, it's true. All right, well, so we're going to move on from that one to one that is a little more long-awaited.
Yeah.
And one that...
Is this the second to last?
No, I have a bunch. Dude, I got to pick it up. We got a few more.
Okay.
But this is probably the second biggest. So let's, we'll come back to that. Let's do this one, but we'll go to a different one. We'll go back to Disneyland for this one. The Incredibles will be taking over Pixar Place. You're going to be able to meet Edna Mode. Well, hold on, let me see. No, I'm lying. You're going to be able to meet Mr. Incredible, Mrs. Incredible, Frozone, and Edna Mode in Pixar Place. And you would be able to meet Edna Mode at Hollywood Studios in Florida. I'm assuming you're thinking the same thing as me on these. That's fine. Like, I'm all for Pixar meet and greets, but, it's not like they haven't done these before.
No, and again, I'm kind of surprised you even bothered to mention it because we just discussed that this is an example.
It's on the list.
I get it. And again, it's exactly the same concept, and it makes sense for now, right? You have a meet and greet. You have probably somebody with a DJ forcing you to dance in front of this meet and greet, and you have a cupcake with a tiny little decoration on top of it that looks like whatever that theme or that character that they're choosing at the moment.
They have the glasses, the Edna Mode glasses cupcake.
And I love Edna Mode, so actually I would actually even bother to get online to actually take a picture with her. I really would.
All right, so you're going to love this one. Then Walt Disney Presents at Hollywood Studios, Mike and Sully are coming to be met in the back of that attraction. Again,
I mean, it's not the first time. They've been there before, haven't they?
No, I don't think in that building, but they've been.
Oh, in that building. Oh, that makes a huge difference. I'm booking my trip now.
All right, there are some people who love Mike and Sully. All right, listen, they haven't been seen in the studios in a little while, so just relax. All right. Moving on. All right, so this one that I should mention to you because it is coming to Magic Kingdom this month. And it's Mickey and Minnie's surprise celebration. Should I mention this one? Or should I even talk about it?
I mean, if you think the viewers are going to get something out of it, go ahead. I mean, the listeners are going to get something out of it. Go ahead.
Well,
I'll have a snack in the meantime. I'll put
So it's basically the castle show. Basically, Mickey and Minnie in their birthday costumes visit fun-filled pit stops on Main Street, USA. And meet Pluto and Fantasyland Storybook Circus, new Move It, Shake It, Mouse Could Dance It, which is really hard to say, by the way. Street party that's coming every afternoon to out in front of Cinderella Castle on Main Street. It's not a huge change. It's Mickey and Minnie are coming in their birthday costumes, not their birthday suits,
no,
but their birthday costumes.
And then instead of a cupcake, there'll be a limited edition Dooney and Burke Minnie and Mickey themed purse.
Yeah.
That's also
Yeah, you're not going to make me cynical on this, all right? I'm here to report what's coming to the parks, and this is one of the things that's coming to the parks. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it. I'm just saying it's happening. All right. Epcot Forever is coming right at the end of the year. Are you really, or is that you being sarcastic?
It's been at least 6 minutes in this podcast that I have not been excited about that. But now it's back.
All right. Illuminations is going to have its last run in the fall of 2019 before its replacement debuts. But let's see. We're going to get Epcot Forever, which is what is it? It's a nighttime show, special effect kites, lasers, music effects that will honor the Florida theme park's storied history. So the cool thing about Epcot Forever, it's like the transition show, right, between Illuminations and a new show coming to Epcot, but it will feature all the old Epcot music, which I know you're excited about.
Yes. I mean, I remember buying the cassette tape in like 1990 and because I had gotten for Christmas a boombox for my bedroom, and I ruined that cassette tape because I played it over and over and over and over again. I memorized every song to this day.
So, can you do a little bit of one of your favorite songs? Not for me, I don't need to hear it, but for the listener.
Wait. Oh, I've done a couple recently. I'm trying to think of one that I haven't referenced in our podcast. How about Energy, you make the world go round. You make the world go round.
Perfect. Are we going to do, is there going to be a Listen to the Land? I hope that's on.
I mean, I assume so. And actually, yes, I'm assuming it'll have most of the songs that I memorized back in the day with that cassette tape, and many of us did. And I do wonder if they're going to have a little reference, a little nod to past Illuminations. So maybe the Millennium song.
Oh, yeah. Wait, yeah. I forget. Now all of a sudden I'm flashing back to standing there with the torches going off, and then the people on the stilts walking around, and and the music, and yeah, I hope so. That would be really cool. I mean, listen, Epcot's been around for what is it now? 40 plus years, right? 40, yeah.
No, not 40 yet. 82.
Right. I'm sorry, 37 years. It's almost 40 years. So yeah, they get a lot of history to go back on. A lot of music, a lot of old school stuff.
And again, logistically, pragmatically, it's a brilliant solution while they have to do the physical infrastructure for the new show. It's brilliant.
Right. So they're going to be
because first of all, the people like me who are going to enjoy the show. I mean, you don't even need the fireworks. You literally just have to blast the music and let us sing along with it. I could care less what I'm looking at on the lake. So you don't need much at all, and we're still going to love it. So it's brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Now here's the big two, and the last two are coming to Hollywood studios. We'll save the best for last and the biggest for last. But coming in the fall again of 2019, Disney's first ever Mickey Mouse ride, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, coming to Hollywood studios in the old spot that used to be occupied by the Great Movie Ride, bringing the whimsy and creative storytelling of Disney Channel's popular new Mickey Mouse cartoons to life in a flagship attraction at Hollywood studios. Expect eye-popping visuals throughout a zany adventure with Goofy, Donald, and Daisy in tow. What are you thinking, Chuck? I think I already know. I think we've talked about this before. And you're thinking sleeper hit on this one?
Yes. Yes. So I think I think it's brilliant to open an attraction like this at the same time that they're going to do Star Wars Land, because you need something that's still going to be a huge hit and eat up a gajillion people per hour, and yet people are not going to obsess with it and every tiny little detail like we are with Star Wars.
Right. Right.
So I think it's brilliant.
So they're calling this, it's going to have technology known as 2.5D, which is 3D without the glasses, to give depth to the 2D environments. It will include more hidden Mickeys than any existing ride. And here's how it's going to go, right? At the beginning of the ride, guests will be invited to watch the premiere of a new Mickey Mouse cartoon in which Mickey and Minnie prepare for a picnic outing and enter Goofy conducting a train. According to Imagineer Kevin Rafferty, guests will then pass through a simulated movie screen where they will experience a zippy, this is in quotes, this isn't me, a zippy, zany, out-of-control adventure. Guests will then be transported into the cartoon and aboard Goofy's train, which takes them on a wild adventure. Sign me up, man. I'm in. Ready.
You know what this makes me think of? It makes me think of the Who Framed Roger Rabbit ride that we've been wanting since 1987 but never got.
Yeah, it's funny,
It makes me think exactly like that, of passing through a screen and suddenly being in Toontown, and you just drive through. You just see everything cartoon. You don't even need 3D sets, although I know they are going to have real sets. But
what do you know what it reminded me of? As I was reading the little spot there, I was thinking of the new Mary Poppins Returns when they go on the bowl. When the characters leave the real world, enter like the cartoon world of the Mother's Bowl, and when they're kind of on that, like the horse and carriage chase, and they're like going to fall off the edge of the bowl. That's what it reminds me of. I think it's going to be really neat. It's going to be really cool, and I agree. I think sleeper hit for sure. I think a lot of people were really super upset, including myself, when they closed the Great Movie Ride. I loved it, but it was probably time. I mean. Yeah, unless they were going to gut it and put a new movie ride in there, it was it was there.
Unless they were going to replace half the scenes, but even if they replace half the scenes, it's still the same. It's still the same, technology, and there's been so many advancements now. So you just expect something different.
I agreed. So I asked this on my Facebook page, I think, when they closed the Great Movie Ride, but I'll ask you now, if you could have one audio animatronic from the Great Movie Ride for your home, what would it be? Which one audio animatronic figure would you choose?
So I'm not going to say the obvious answer, which would be the Wicked Witch of the West. So I'm going to say Sigourney Weaver.
Really?
Yes.
That's an interesting one. I didn't even think that looked like Sigourney Weaver.
No, it was terrible. But it's because my brothers and I, when they moved to Florida and then we would start going to Disney World on a regular basis, we had a game where we would imitate, like it was a guessing game. We would imitate an animatronic, and you had to guess what animatronic or what ride. And I would always do Sigourney Weaver because it was so easy. You just move your head slowly to one side and then quickly to the other side.
That's a good one. Excuse me. Mine was always Indiana Jones, of course, as mine. Or Gene Kelly. The Gene Kelly singing in the rain one was really cool too.
Oh yeah.
Hanging off the street light. That was cool. All right. So let's move on to the last and the biggest thing that's coming to both Disneyland and Walt Disney World this year in 2019. And it is we mentioned it earlier. We already talked about it. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I can't wait. I know you can't wait. I cannot wait for this to open. Here's what we're going to do, Chuck, before we get into it. Before you even say one word, we're going to not have you tell everyone that they'll never get to see it. All right?
Because again, as much as I like to make fun of that, and I was actually going to say earlier that what's it officially called? Mickey's and Minnie's rail
Runaway Railway. Yes. That I foresee
weekends and in the parks after everything is open in the fall of 2019, where every family, including my own, just has to have a decision. Okay, are we going to wait 3 hours for the Mickey and Minnie ride or 7 to get into Star Wars Land?
All right, so
and that's going to be the decision every day that we go to the parks after.
All right, so that since I asked you not to say that and you already did, let's talk about what we're excited about coming up in Galaxy's Edge. Instead of telling people that they're never going to get to do it, let's think of it this way. A lot of people who are listening to this podcast right now in their cars, on the treadmill, walking the dog, wherever they are listening and planning for a trip that's going to happen 2-3 years from now. So
they'll be fun then.
Right. So let's think about them. Let's think about the people who are saving, not the ones who are going to be at, opening day or the week after trying to get in. Let's talk about why we're excited about Galaxy's Edge.
Well, I'm not very good at thinking about others. I'm only good at thinking about myself, but I'm doing my best.
If only you were kidding.
Well, I'm going to start with this.
Wait, first of all, wait a minute. I got to stop you for 1 second. Yeah. You are excellent at thinking of others. The persona that you have on the podcast is definitely a part of your personality for sure, but it is not your whole personality. I want people to understand that you are a very caring individual. You care very deeply about a lot of people, my kids, your nieces and nephews, your family, all that stuff. Your nieces, I know you don't have a nephew.
Right.
But
Agreed.
just so people don't think you're a cold, heartless, you know what? I don't want them to think that, because you do care.
It's the way that I make my comments that I think to me it's obvious that it's not 100% serious. So
no, that's to others. I'm worried. All right. So what were you going to say?
I was going to actually start this by saying that by coincidence, and while I was waiting for you to call me, I happened to stumble upon the first article that it seems like someone has told in great detail, scene by scene, exactly what's the big ride called? Not the Millennium Falcon.
The Rise of the First Order.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say anything, of course, because
I have the same thing up on my computer right now.
I figured. I was going to ask you this before we even started.
It came out. Yeah, this article came out yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't see it until this morning.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not going to say anything, of course, because I do recognize that unlike myself, people don't like to be spoiled. Personally, if I was pregnant, I would want to know the sex of the baby like the day before I even conceived it. But most people like the nice surprise. So I'm not going to say anything, but I have to tell you, I think it doubled my anticipation, my eagerness, and my excitement.
Yeah.
It doubled it.
Yeah, what's funny is I can't reveal sources and tell who I got information from, but I got an email several months ago from somebody that worked out in California, who sent me a chain of emails that they were really worried about the Rise of the First Order attraction, and there were reasons why, and it was reasons why it's not going to be successful and it's not going to be good, and people are going to be disappointed. After reading about it this morning, I'm with you. I think it's made me much more excited for the land than ever before.
Yes.
I mean, look. I don't want to. It's so hard to talk about this without giving spoilers because, listen, this is one thing I'm going to say about this attraction. There are going to be AT-ATs in this attraction that are life size that you're going to pass by on this, like huge actual Star Wars universe style AT-AT, like the walkers in the attraction. They can shoot at you as you go by.
Which actually, I don't know if when last time you were here, those of us, we could see them during construction before they closed the building. So we knew that they were life size.
So but I didn't know, and I remember seeing that when they were doing it out in Disneyland too. I didn't know if they were going to be movable, if they were going to just be kind of set pieces. It seems like they're going to be pretty functioning. It's going to be awesome. You mentioned the Millennium Falcon attraction. It's called Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Disney hasn't shared a ton about that yet. They showed the inside of the cockpit. Did you see that?
Yes, during the Christmas
right.
parade.
So there's six seats in the cockpit. I don't know. I'm imagining it'll work a bit like Mission Space without the spinning, right? Like kind of where there's a whole bunch of. Yeah, but it won't be.
You mean? Oh, yeah. I was thinking of the actual physical way to make you feel like you're moving.
Oh, yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, like it's going to be like with a load and unload. There'll be a whole bunch of different pods that you get into, and it's going to be the Millennium Falcon cockpit. The queue is it? I think the queue is, I believe,
through the Falcon itself.
Yeah, and you're going to walk through the Millennium Falcon ship. With Chuck, I got to tell you, man. I'm more excited about that than almost anything. Like walking through,
and I've never called myself those kinds of Star Wars fans, but I get it. For you, my brother, and other people I know, that part would almost excite you more than the ride itself.
Yeah, like you walk through the. I mean, seriously, and when the picture dropped a couple weeks ago of the Millennium Falcon that's completed outside of in Disneyland in Galaxy's Edge, looking at that, I'm so like I have goosebumps right now. It's such a nerd excitement moment for me. And you know what? Like when I say Star Wars nerd, and it's almost not these days. It's almost like nerd culture has made is popular now. It's super popular. Comic books, superheroes, Star Wars, like, Harry Potter, all that stuff they're the most popular movies, the most popular things. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so am I. And I will say, I don't think this is a spoiler, because up until now, and we've talked about it on other podcasts, and I'm sure you have with other people. I guess all we really were wondering is the technology that's going to be used especially in the battle ride. And I know there were some very interesting theories out there. Like, for example, it would be like a 2-part attraction where you literally would have to like get out of a vehicle and then go into another vehicle and all kinds of stuff like that.
Right.
So now that we know some more details, I'm not disappointed, even though some of the things that we speculated at are not happening, because it's still going to be a revolutionary attraction. I mean, I think it would definitely change things of what to expect from a big e-ticket attraction.
I agree. I really agree. I think people should go look for it. If you Google Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, like we said, we're not going to give away too much, but if you Google Galaxy's Edge and you want it to be spoiled, you can look it up. I agree with you, man. I'll read all about the spoilers and look at the pictures, because it's completely different reading about it, looking at pictures, and then experiencing it in person.
I don't think I lose anything because I finally get to go ride it.
Yeah, it doesn't like. I remember when this is kind of a minor example, but when Enchanted Tales with Belle opened, and the mirror effect and the Lumiere effect, and people were like, "Don't look at it don't watch online because it'll ruin it." I watched it on YouTube the first day, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, I got to go do this." And then I got to see it in person, and it didn't hurt it at all for me. No. So I'm super excited. The Cantina, of course, I'm excited about. With Captain Rex, we talked about that. Rex will be, what is he going to be, Chuck? I always forget what it's going to be. A DJ, right? In the Cantina, there will be also a Cantina in Disneyland. We found out that will serve alcohol. So I don't. we don't need to get into the debate on that. People are super upset about that. Some people are don't care. It reminds me of the Mitch Hedberg joke when it says, I was in a heavy metal band. He goes, you either loved us or you hated us, or you thought we were okay. I just, that's how I feel about that. Like, you're either going to love that decision, you're going to hate that decision, or then there's the people in the middle who are like me, who are like, whatever. Like, I don't need there to be alcohol in a Star Wars cantina, but I will have a drink if it's available.
Yeah, agreed. Me too. It doesn't really affect me either way. You know what I am fascinated by is that there has not been any details about the supposed dinner show, because that would be a big deal, especially for booking months in advance. Plus, it would take up a huge amount of space. Maybe it's not actually happening.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that at all.
Exactly.
And in the map,
maybe they just put that out there just to get us to talk about something for the past year.
Maybe in the map that you look at, the aerial of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the Black Spire outpost, they don't have anything about that on the map either of where something like that would be.
Everybody's figured out pretty much every space in that area, and dinner show would be a huge building.
Yeah, I think it would have to be.
It's the kind of dinner show that I'm thinking of, like Hoop-de-Doo or the Lua or something.
I wonder if you could put that in the hotel, maybe.
Because you can't have people
you're right.
People staying there visiting.
Yeah, you're right. Because, like people like you and me will never get to see that hotel. I'm hoping.
Even if I open a new credit card.
I'm hoping I get somehow can weasel my way in through a press invite for the podcast, or
I would assume that you might.
I might. I think I've said before, the invites that I've gotten so far have been restaurants, and I applied for the last big land, Toy Story Land, and I did not get that one. And I got rejected for Pandora as well. But then I went for DVC previews for Pandora, so I was fine. Anyway, so I think it's safe to say Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is the biggest thing in a long shot coming to Walt Disney World and Disneyland. I will see it this summer. You're not planning on a trip out there, are you?
California? No, I would assume not.
No, so what I really want you to do, you should come out with us for D23. That's what you got to get out for. Come to the expo this summer with us. And
that I've heard about it. Yeah, obviously I've heard of D23s. I've never been to one.
It's a lot of fun. It's you talk about celebrities, right? Like I don't even recognize half of them, but the expo, just the expo floor itself is crawling with celebrities. I mean, even like I remember I was standing.
Yes, or as people to get autographs.
But both. But yeah, like I didn't recognize a lot of them. A lot of people just had, walked around with security. At one point, like Bryce Dallas Howard was standing next to me, and I didn't know who that was. I took a picture of her. This is embarrassing because I don't really know a whole lot of celebrities. I took a picture of her with my camera. I'm sure she saw me, and I sent it to my brother. And I'm like, "Who is this?" And then he wrote me back, and I'm like, "Oh yeah." And I'm sure she was like, "Dude, if you want to know who I am, just ask me, you weirdo. Stop taking pictures of me." But yeah, and I met Six from Blossom, which was weird. We were both like standing next to like a Disney M&M display, and I just started talking to her, and she walked away, and I was like, that girl Six from Blossom. And it was later on she was signing autographs. But when we were there last time, my kids saw like the people that played the kids in the Descendants. We ran into them in the parks. We saw Jodie Benson just walking around with her family. We saw Sean Astin, and who was I saw Ed Asner walking around, and you get to see a lot of celebrities just kind of hanging out, not really officially doing stuff. And then the one day I was at D23 a couple years ago, and they all of a sudden I see a whole group of people standing around near the autograph tables, and there's Dick Van Dyke in the middle. And I was like, oh my God, it's Dick Van Dyke. And then everybody had that same thought. And then like the security just grabbed him and took him, like got him off stage, because it was like everybody in the vicinity was like, Dick Van Dyke. And the poor guy probably was like, okay, get me out of here. But dude, you can meet, what's her name, from Jane Banks from the original Mary Poppins was there. She had a booth and she was talking to people, and Margaret Kerry, who was the model for Tinkerbell, was there. You could go talk to her. Lots of cool Disney people. So you would love it, man. You really should. We'll have room in our hotel room. You can come.
All right. Well, I'll think about it.
That was such a fake. You'll think about it. All right, Chuck. Thank you so much again for coming on. This is a fun one. And
Yes, it was.
And you will be buying everyone a drink in the cantina in 2 years. Any listener that comes up to you in the parks and you have to buy them a drink.
Wait, since you mentioned the cantina again, I was gonna go full circle and end with classic Chuck cynicism. So this is what I'm picturing, right? Because so many people a day will not be able to get into Star Wars Land. For the people who don't get into it, on Hollywood Boulevard, there'll be a Star Wars dance party with Rex as the DJ, and then there'll be a Star Wars themed cupcake being sold. As an alternative, if you did not get to go on the rides after waiting in line for 8 hours.
Chuck, thanks again. And that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ear to There Disney Podcast. Thank you once again to my friend Chuck for coming on, for giving us the brand of optimism that only Chuck Rodriguez can bring. Nah, Chuck's an awesome guy, and like I said, deep down he has a heart of gold. You just kind of have to dig beneath several layers of sarcasm, but it is there. And thank you so much for listening to this episode. I really appreciate it, as always. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're looking forward to all of these things just as much as we are. Yes, even the dance parties and the cupcakes, which I didn't even notice was a thing, but now I will be on the lookout for all the time. So thank you so much for listening. You are awesome. And do me a favor, if you don't mind, tell someone about the show. Do you know somebody who's going to Walt Disney World or Disneyland in 2019? Do you want to help them get excited? Or are you trying to plan a trip in 2019 and you have that one person in your life, that grumpy husband or that grumpy teenage son who doesn't want to go to Walt Disney World? There's bound to be something in this episode for them that they are going to get excited about. So share this episode with that grumpy husband, with that grumpy son, with your neighbor who might already have a trip planned. I'd really appreciate it. The more people that listen, the better the show does. So thank you so much in advance for letting someone know about it. Just remember, there will be a new episode of the Ear to There Disney Podcast each and every Monday. Once in a while, it's on Tuesday. And there will be a new episode of the Walt Disney World Word of the Week, or It's a Food World someday on Thursdays. So until next time, thank you again so much for listening. You are awesome. Like I said before, have a phenomenal week. Bye-bye.
Ear to there, ear to there.